I made this work in London, in my studio, this particular work, and there's another work that I made, a long drawing. And in both cases, I was thinking about very large horizontal Chinese painting. And in this particular one of the things that interested me was to make a multi-layered painting. And this is called The Death of Trotsky. And as you may know, Trotsky was in Mexico, and he was killed by one of Stalin's agents behind with an axe. Well, people spend a lot of time on the computer today, and even though I'm certainly not drawing a parallel at all between myself and Trotsky, I certainly spend too much time on computer and I get this bad back, and it sort of reminds me of death. And I think this snake is something to do with death, coming up, striking you from behind, causing you pain. I think also, I would say it's a wandering of thoughts. There are lots of little things, and I like the idea of building up density on a surface, spending a lot of time. And I think that the little things are just fragments of thought, or things seen, or things stolen. You know, there's something stolen from a Japanese noodle packet that I saw, little green trees. So it's a collection of moments. So it's a kind of multi-layered poetic statement. The drawing, on the other hand, is very long. I've forgotten how you walk along it. So it's actually time-based. So as you move along, you have a different experience, and you find different things in the drawing. And I like the idea that paintings or drawings can be so long. It's really a sort of black and white painting, can be so long that as you walk along, they unveil themselves. Again, it reminded me, there's a Chinese painting of an emperor voyaging down the river, and you see him getting off at various stages. And it's a collection of experiences. It's also about rain, and I love the rain here in Thailand, and it's coming in great floods, and it's called Black Sun, Hot Rain. It could have been called Black Rain, Hot Sun, but I quite like the switching of the two. And I find the climate extraordinary, and the fact that I spend a lot of my time here just wandering, finding things. So that's the kind of root of the drawing. And I very much wanted to make something here, while the other, out in situ, not just bring something with me. Well, one of the reasons for choosing that title is that I think there's something very important about collapse and failure in art. So an ambition to make something may often may not be quite realized. There may be a fall off or failure, and that failure can be very interesting. It's like the material speaking back. I'm really interested in the way that that this show is a mixture of really monumental things and things that are really quite vulnerable, and to me that's the key of that title. I'm also interested in artists that allow the material to contain the feeling through perhaps failure. And I think failure is a word used a lot in painting, because painting is a very kind of it's just mud on a surface. It's a very kind of mean medium. It's not sort of diamonds on a skull or whatever. It's something quite mean, just mud on a surface. So I quite like the idea that to make something like that, as simple as that, it's quite a fragile thing to do, to make it interesting, and very often it's a fragile result. The most interesting thing is actually the bringing together of artists from different cultures, with lots of overlaps, but different cultures, and the kind of electricity that can happen when people think very differently, have different languages, different understanding of contemporary art context. And I suppose also the fact that this whole group of artists, it's grown quite organically. It's not been somebody has said, oh, we got to have this artist, that artist. They've sort of connected through friendship, through working in other things together, and it's slowly built up. and I think, and it's a follow-on from two previous exhibitions, so with slightly different, changing artists. So I think the sort of its organic growth is what's particularly interesting, and and also hopefully the work. Hopefully the key thing is the work is going to be out of box, a bit different, and really, really interesting. And it must be one of the biggest shows ever of Thai and British art together, and in this amazing building, the BACC, which is, it's an extraordinary building, and right in the heart of Bangkok. And so I find it very exciting to be one of the people putting the show together. I find it really exciting and very challenging.